Good morning. It is February. It's only a week before Valentine's Day, which I think is a fabulous reason to bring our dearly wonderful Amy Mushall in with us today. My name is Michelle Marquardt DeVoe, and I am the CEO, president, whatever you want to call it, person, main squeeze, since we're on the Valentine's thing, main squeeze of Faith Culture Kiss Studios and founder of the Speakeasy Cooperative. And we are here today on Speaking Easy with Michelle to actually do an interview. So we're going to be speaking easy with someone who I really am very excited to introduce you to. Amy Mushall has been a client and colleague and friend league and friendlet of mine for about a year. And I want you to hear her story because we're wrapping up the How to Run Your Voice Biz Without Hating Your Boss cohort from the 2021-22 program. We are getting ready to accept, we are accepting applications to the 2022 and in that conversation. And when Amy, really, I just asked, I was like, hey, everyone, we need kind of testimonials. We're putting out sales page, telling everybody what we're about to do next year. And Amy just wrote up this incredible reflection of her own journey. And that's something that I love about Amy. She is intuitive. She is great at self-awareness, and she puts herself out there in a bold way, even though it's scary as swear words. And so I wanted to invite you to meet her today, and we're just going to hear a little bit about who she is, her story, and then why she did How to Run, talk a little bit about what that process is like to be in that, and then you'll just get to be encouraged too, because I can guarantee that something that is going to come out of her face is going to give you something to chew on too. So here we go. Oh, I did it wrong. Dang it. I always push the wrong button. Amy, it's so good to have you here. How are you this morning?
Oh, I'm so glad to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
You are welcome.
I'm great.
Yes. Well, so obviously we've been talking in the background about having you here with us today. Oh, Stephanie's here. Hey, ladies. And really, like what I just said in the intro, I'm always when I think back on our story, I think, oh, Amy is a person who is such a good example of those little micro baby steps that you take in order to change your business. And so I was wondering if you would just tell us a little bit about kind of your journey from way before you met Michelle to like actually signing up for How to Run. What was that like for you?
So I started my business when I was preggo, and I realized that I needed to follow my dreams and stop doing all the other shenanigans that I was doing to like pay the bills. And so I was really cautious in the way that I like transitioned from part-time employment into full-time employment with my business. I made lots of mistakes along the way. And yeah, I learned lots of things along the way.
Give us an example. What was one of your mistakes that you made?
Well, definitely taking anybody like warm body syndrome, just like, please come and be in my studio and I will bend over backwards to make this work, whatever I need to do to make this be okay.
Yeah.
That was one. Another one was not making sure that I was getting paid and like, oh, you'll pay me. I trust you. You'll pay me. And then like having somebody ghost me after 3 weeks of the month and like, oh, okay, you're not going to pay me.
Right.
Things like that, yeah, I just didn't have the systems in place. And so, over several years of running my business on my own, I learned lots of things, school of hard knocks. But then I was introduced to you and the speakeasy
Mm.
through my Alexander technique work, through Total Vocal Freedom.
Oh, Peter.
Peter
Hi,
Peter
Peter.
Jacobson brought
Thanks,
you
Peter.
in. Yes, hey Peter. He brought you in for a session that was all about bounty versus scarcity
Mm.
and the way that we think about things. And you introduced tuition pricing, which blew my mind. I mean, all of the scarcity versus bounty talk, it just shifted my mindset in what I thought was a pretty dramatic way at the time.
That's amazing.
Um,
Good
yeah,
to
and so
know.
I started a tuition package. I started doing things, but I was still like undervaluing what I was offering. I was like throwing in everything and
Mm.
then not really charging for it. And so
Yeah.
not really understanding that that's what was happening. So, lots of learning left to do. And so finally I took Sarah Campbell's branding course. Uh
Excellent. Love Sarah.
yeah.
And
And
she's
it's
on our
amazing.
team too. So we should shout out to Sarah Campbell,
Yes,
who, but I
and
think she's, side note, I think she's getting ready to do another round of branding boot camp. So pay attention to Savvy Music Studio over on your socials. Thank you for letting me interrupt you, Amy. Go ahead.
absolutely. Yeah, so working with Sarah was really great, and just again starting to really think in terms of who is my business, who am I within the context of my business, and
Mm,
like the that little guy right there I created out of Sarah's branding boot camp.
love it.
And so yeah, so I got to know myself a lot more, and at the end of that I was like, what should I do? Where should I go? And she suggested how to run.
Mm,
She suggested, several things. And one of the things that she also suggested was Seco. And so I kept on lurking around for several months until I finally went, I've got to do the thing. So I jumped into Seco. And there's so much goodness in that group. There is just so much lifting up of each other and cheering each other on, and generosity and sharing all the goodness. And so, anyways, so that was great. And and then I knew I needed more. I knew that I was struggling to really believe in myself, to really
mm,
take those deep plunges to
mm,
move my business forward. I was just doing like little things that made me feel really good, but they weren't those really big leaps.
mm.
Um, so I invested in some coaching with Sarah, and that was really fantastic. And while doing that, H2RA, the 10-month extended course information came out, and I was like, I think this is
I
what I
just paid
really
a lot of money
need.
for private coaching. Why am I going to do this 10-month program? I totally
Right?
feel you.
I totally did. I mean, I think you remember, I even reached out. I reached out to Sarah. I was like, okay, we still have coaching left. Like, I still have 4 more months left. Why should I sign up? And she was like, because you're going to get the whole thing. Like, it's going to
Mm,
be the whole package, and you're going to be going with a cohort, and there's just so much goodness in it. It took me a little while to like go, okay, yes, I can invest the money. I can do this. Um, and I think that that's also part of my journey of I was so proud of myself for starting my business with like spending no money. Like,
it
you
is a
know,
badge of honor. It is a badge of honor. Well, I mean, there's a book. So you know how we talk about profit first in a little bit in How to Run. Mike Michalowicz has a whole like series of books that are based on how to start your business with like no money. So
Yeah. Like I already had a really aging keyboard and I
Yeah.
had, a pretty good library of books that I was starting with. And I just kept on buying more stuff to, hey, Pilar. Yeah, yeah, so anyways, it was like this badge of honor. I did the thing without spending any money. And then to actually invest in myself was a
Mm,
huge step. Um
yeah.
and I think that it was the moment when I really started to believe in myself as a business and that I needed to invest in myself in order to elevate myself as a
That's
business owner.
that is incredible, Amy, because I didn't know that was part of it. And I just want to reflect back that I have a very similar experience even in my own iterations of business where you're going into this thing to make money and yet you
Mhm,
don't have really the solid tools in order to do it well. So you're
mhm,
afraid of spending money, which keeps you in a cycle of always pursuing the next dollar instead of pursuing growth in your business, which will bring the next dollar. And
yeah,
I've been there myself, and I didn't know that that was part of your story of like that wrestling of like, oh, you got to spend money to make money.
mhm,
And I think people, when we say spend money to make money, we think, oh, I've got to like pay for marketing and I've got to pay for, social media ads and I have to pay. You think of all these things except personal development
right,
and business skill. And I love that you were like, oh, wait, it's an investment to me to actually learn how to do this so that I can continue to do this in whatever iteration of my business comes in the future. Because it really is. I mean, I see Stephanie here, I see Karen here, Pilar. It really is just the same questions on a different day.
mhm.
And so tell me a little bit about what you learned in How to Run. Now that you're like, okay, I'm going to invest in this. I'm going to drop some change because it is change. I'm not afraid to say that
Yeah,
out loud. It's a chunk.
yeah.
Tell me a little bit about what was like, what you learned where you were like, this is totally worth my chunk of change.
Oh my gosh, there's so much. Like, I could just go through every single module and tell you what blew my mind. I'm not even joking. Like, um, we talked about values and really digging into
Mm,
like what are the values that I have and how are they in alignment with my business and what I'm offering to my clients, and the Clifton strengths. Oh my gosh, I I didn't really think that that was going to be life changing, but I go back to my Clifton strengths all the time. Like, oh, I really want to just buy more professional development in from not from the business side of things, right? But from the, oh, could I learn more about how the voice works and how the body works and just, all
yeah.
of those things? Oh my gosh, let me just keep adding to my toolbox. It's so the input is so strong.
Yeah. Because you have learner input combo, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I do.
That's a big one. It's
Uh-huh.
a big
But
one. So
then,
what did you learn about that? Like, okay, I want to spend all my money on this. And then how have you shifted your perspective around what you're actually going to spend it on?
well, there was that. And then also realizing how much imposter syndrome I had. And
Ooh.
so how they fed into each other, like, oh, I couldn't possibly have all the tools that I need in order to be a good voice teacher. So therefore, I
Mm.
must collect more data, more data, more data. And
Mm.
so realizing number one, I have I have so many tools. I'm
You
I'm
do.
I'm a great voice
You
teacher. And
are.
just like owning
Yeah.
that, it feels so empowering, first of all.
Yeah.
But then also to realize like, okay, I can, instead of, buying every course that's out there, I can sit back and go, I think I already have that information. I don't need to do that. Or I can just pause for a minute and think about, is this where my money is going to best serve me and my clients? How is it going to best serve my clients if I continue to just input more and more and more and more and more, but yet I don't have the systems in place? And here we're getting to what I really got out of H2RA.
Great.
I don't have the systems in place to actually run my business and make money.
Wow.
It was like all of the money I was making, I literally I'm like a nonprofit. I'll bring in all the money so that I can take it and pay it out to somebody else so that I can put more information in and never actually reinvest in my business. I bought myself a new keyboard this year. Like, wow, what a concept.
Like, that's allowed? Wait a sec. What?
I know. And I'm telling you, I have it in my budget for within the next year to buy myself a new laptop, because I
Perfect.
am on my laptop that I've had for 10 years. Thank you very much.
Yeah. And
And
it's
it's working
time.
beautifully, but it's time.
It's
Like, I
time.
need to reinvest in my stuff. And so, and yes, I'm sorry. I just need to pause because I'm getting super excited about all the things.
I love the excitement because it's real. And just to anyone, Deborah's out here. She's like, I feel seen. And Deborah, you've only done the self-guided version. So we actually had 2 people in the cohort that had done either the 10-week version or the self-guided. But it's interesting because what I think, what was I going to say? It like all congealed in my brain, and then it was just like a Jell-O salad, which was unfortunate. So,
that's okay. Can I butt in for a minute?
Please
Because
save me.
I did I did the self-guided how to run. I invested in that first.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
this is at a price point that I can get behind. Okay, I can do that. And I was doing the things. I was trying to do the things, and I was coming up against so many monsters inside of me that I could not do the things. And this is where H2RA is the bomb, because number one, you have all of the support of you, Sarah, Kristen, all of the staff at Secco, fantastic. And you have group coachings, you have cohorts, you start doing co-working sessions, you are able to talk to each other and go, you guys, this is hard. Right? And then go, oh, but I see that you're doing that thing. Or somebody will say, I can't do this. And you go, oh yeah, I've already done that step. And so there's this lifting up again of each other that is so valuable. Like, you can't pay enough money to have somebody reflect to you what they see in you so that you can actually see it in yourself.
Yeah.
And to be able to do that for somebody else,
that's fire, girl.
Yeah. Seriously, you cannot pay enough. This is part of how I see myself differently, is seeing how other people perceive me and see me, and really owning it, instead of feeling like, oh, I couldn't possibly be good enough to actually do the thing. I am good enough. I can do the thing.
Yeah. You are. And I wish that just kind of on a vulnerability personal note, the way that our market works right now is everything happens so quickly, and there's so much noise to sift through when you're looking for what you need, that we know that pre-program people just want to know, well, what's in it for me? What's in it for me? Tell me what
Mhm.
I'm going to learn. Tell me what I'm going to learn. Tell me the
Mhm.
information. Tell me all of these things that are very tangible and measurable. And so we do that on the sales page. Like, here's what the module is about. Here are the questions you can answer. Da, da, da.
Mhm.
But what you're talking about right now is really, it's really touching to me, because it's the heart of why we started this program, and that is personal development that leads to professional development.
Mhm.
And that is the part that I wish I could put into words. Like, I wish I could figure out a way to say, no, 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 really, like, we're going to help you look in the mirror and see somebody you think is fucking awesome, you know? And you can't,
Amen.
people don't believe you when you say that, because it sounds so cheesy, right? It's so cheesy. But I really appreciate that you would take the time to say that out loud, because that is one of those unspoken benefits that's like, well, how do you put that on a sales page? And so I appreciate that. Tell us a little bit. So, one of the other things that's really cool about what you do as a voice teacher is that you found this vehicle for voice teaching, Alexander Technique, through Peter,
Mhm.
and all of that. And you are now actively incorporating that into your marketing. So what was that like for you? Because you said you have input and you always are wanting to learn everything. What was that like for you to gain tools around, well, how do I take this really important big chunk of thing and literally make it part of my unique value proposition? What was that transition like? And what were maybe some struggles you had with that?
Well, let's be honest. At this point, because I'm still in my certification program, I have sprinkled it into my marketing, but it is not what I lead with.
Mm,
And again, this is where just over the last weekend, the realization that I can start to say, I am a trainee, I am doing this thing, and I already am doing the work. I'm not doing hands-on work with my students because I'm still online. But yeah, but we are exploring in a way that is whole body, whole system, whole self, hence
wholehearted.
wholehearted, indeed, nurturing the whole person, the whole singer.
Yeah.
Yes, so it's what I lead with, and so actually going to thinking of where do I want to go. This is
Mm,
part of what's come out of H2RA, is how to vision out where I want to go, and having the tools to, if I need to, burn down the whole thing that I am in the process of building up. Or really, at this point, what I'm really looking at is implementing so much of the work that I've been doing in the workbooks over the last 10 months, and now really digging in and implementing it even more.
mm,
And so I feel like the other win in H2RA is having those tools. You have the workbooks, you have all of the things that you've done, going back and watching the videos to be able to say, what was that thing about marketing that I wanted to do? Oh, yeah, I can go back and watch that. To be able to now implement it in a much deeper way, and to continue to take the time and know that I have the tools and I still have my cohort. I can still reach out to them and be like,
absolutely.
y'all, what is happening? Like, is this any good or is this trash? Yeah, just I think that one of the things that you said in a session, it was actually kind of after a session. It was after our planning session. We were having a little conversation. And one of the things that you talked about was that building a business is a continuous process.
Mm-hmm.
Just like as a singer, we're continually shifting and changing, our bodies are changing. And so when you think that you have it figured out, something shifts and changes, and you have to be able to shift and change and learn from that and not get stuck in one correct way of doing it, right? You're
Yeah.
never finished.
Never.
And so H2RA really taught me that I don't have to be finished. This is
Mhm.
just I have lots of tools. I've made lots of progress. I've done lots of things, and I can continue to implement the tools that you've given us in order to make more changes.
That's great. I love
Yeah.
I love that. I mean, that's kind of the goal, right? Is teach a person to fish and they eat for a lifetime, hand a person a fish and they eat for a day. And it's funny because my husband started an MBA. So I was like going through the MBA with him in Silicon Valley when we lived there many, many years ago. And it's so funny because I have so many friends who have MBAs now and, part of that whole like thing. And we all kind of banter about like, wow, it's like almost just not relevant anymore. Like, like,
Mm,
of course
yeah.
there are basics like budgeting and how to look at a balance sheet and,
Mhm.
taxes and whatever. But what I I had to learn that the hard way too. Is like we so desperately want one and done, right? We
Yes.
so desperately want the thing that will solve all the problems. And the reality is the thing that solves all the problems is right here. That's the thing that solves all the problems. And
Well, and
so
if you haven't learned through living through a pandemic that you need to be able to make adjustments and shift and pivot and turn and spin based on whatever is coming your way today,
mhm.
I don't know, like y'all need to be learning if you haven't learned that, right?
Yeah. And
I mean, we cannot be stuck in this one way of doing things and think that that is the only way.
yeah. I mean, even yesterday I was going over one of the modules and I was like, what do I have to change in this
Mm,
module for this market? Because the market in 2022, like with self-guided, you have it so but even in there, I tell the story after the fact. I'm like videoing
right.
from my bedroom, or I mean my office, this room. Um And I'm like, dude, we recorded this and I got the text message, the school is shutting down. Right. So sometimes like there's like a couple parts of that where I was like, oh, that did not age well, just because a pandemic changes like certain things. Right. But
Yeah.
what I love about what you're saying is like, I feel like what the pandemic has done for all of us is actually good in the sense of this. Any of us who were under the delusion that we didn't already have to be ready for change and
Mhm.
already have to be kind of you've developed the skill to kind of roll with the waves and surf. um it has definitely put that in people's mind. Like you just have to be able to do that. That's just part
Yep.
of being alive in 2022 and a business owner especially. So that's
Yep.
great. So what are you most proud of yourself? You have been very
Mm.
gracious and saying a lot of wonderful things about H2RA, but I want you to brag on yourself a little bit here. Like what are you most proud of and what you've been able to implement and shift in your business over the last 10 months?
So, I've shifted how I'm running my tuition model. I'm now going on a rolling 12-month tuition
Oh,
model
nice.
instead of prorating, which was not a huge leap, but it's a mindset shift
Yeah.
in how I'm running my business. And
Mm.
yeah, so that was one tangible thing. I think the biggest thing that I have done is I started doing drop-in lessons over the last 6 months, and so that was just brand new. I had been doing tuition models only,
Mm.
and like long-term committed people, and so but one of the things that I decided so last year during the pandemic, when all hell was breaking loose, I was homeschooling
Oh gosh.
and I was
Yeah.
running my business and I was doing my
You're
Alexander
bringing trauma back into
certification.
my life, Amy, talking about homeschooling the kids.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm teasing.
And I started coaching with Sarah, and I started H2RA.
Input. It's
And
like input before we get a handle on it.
and I did that year back off the number of lessons that I was going to teach. I
Oh,
was at least smart enough to do that. However, um this year with my kiddos going back into the school district, and I wanted to make sure that I had more balance. So one
mm-hmm.
of the things that we did, was the time analysis and the time budget,
Oh,
and
yeah, yeah.
not just like how are you spending your time, like how much time are you spending on your financials versus onboarding versus marketing, whatever. That's all great, but also how much emotional time are you spending,
Mm-hmm.
and how much bandwidth do you have to be able to provide a high level service to your clients and still be a mother and a wife and still take care of me. And so that balance is something that I think we all talk about. But I've been more mindful in how I'm balancing things. And when I have had clients who have kind of challenged those boundaries around how I am creating space for those drop in packages in particular, because I had a couple people who went from being full members, like you get all the things, to okay, you don't want all the things. You don't want
Mm-hmm.
to pay for all the things. You don't want to commit to all the things. That's fine. It's great. I have this other offer for you, and it's
Mm-hmm.
called drop ins. And when you come, then we are fully together for that time that you're paying for, but I don't necessarily have to spend all of the time outside of the lesson providing all of the things that I provide to my full members.
Yeah.
It was really hard, right? Like making that mindset shift for myself of, and then also bringing along my clients and being able to communicate in a positive way
Mm-hmm.
that this is the commitment level that you chose, that you wanted from my studio, from me, how much support you wanted, right? You said that you just want to drop in. So that's what I have on offer. And no, I can't do that on a Friday afternoon. No, I can't do that on after 7 o'clock at night. Like I have to spend time with my family. I have to make time to do those financials, right? Like I have to make time to do my admin work, and I was never creating
Mm.
space for that. So then, putting the kids to bed and then sitting with my laptop in front of the TV, like trying to
Mm.
do my admin work and all of that. I'm not doing that anymore.
That's
I'm not.
great.
Yeah. I mean, I'm setting so many more boundaries around my time and how I'm communicating that with my clients. And that when I am, for my members, for my full members, they get so much more. And I feel really good about giving that to them because they're paying for it. Whereas people who are dropping in are not paying for that. And so being really clear with myself, and what my offers are, and then being able to be very clear with my clients around that,
Yeah.
has been really fantastic.
I've really loved watching you do that. And I think you're bringing up this great point, which is, business. I find in the music community, not just voice teachers, but kind of music related business, there's this huge, like, weird pay it forward, perpetuates scarcity and doing nice for people and all of this.
Yeah.
That translates into the overall running of a business, which ironically puts the business owner in a place where they are literally not doing for themselves what they think they should be doing for everyone else, therefore perpetuating this myth story of everyone, you just suck it up, buttercup, you like slit your bleed out for the cause. And then our clients see that. And then if we have those clients that then go into this professionally, they feel like they have to do that too.
Right.
And what I love that you're doing is this is where the impact part comes in to, you know, this overall story. It's like the irony is that the more business minded you become, the more effective and impactful for the arts you become, which is why you started doing what you wanted to do in the first place. And so all of those students of yours and all of those creative of yours, and even if they're not going to be professional musicians, what you've done for them is you've modeled for them that they need to charge what their business needs them to charge.
Yes.
And that you also have given them great agency in like, you know, you don't have just one way to work with you. And so it's not take it or leave it. It's, I would love to work with you. We know that the work we do here is right for you. Here are the different ways you can ingest that work and be a part of that work. And you get to decide what that is. And that beautiful agency that you're creating in your business, Amy, is not in every studio. You know, we are, you know, this is what I do. This is what I do. This is how I do it. Right. And on one level, you know, when you're first learning boundaries, I think it's important to kind of be able to like kind of put your foot down and say, this is what I do. But what you've done is you've moved through that arc of like, everybody is doing whatever they want to me, to know I'm going to set a really firm boundary, to I understand really what my boundaries are. Here are your options, and you have agency again. And that arc, watching that arc in you has been, I mean, soul feeding, because that's what I love to see. I love to see you succeeding in these ways. And I'm really, when do you finish the certification?
Oh gosh. I mean, I'm just starting my first. Yeah, it's probably a couple years down the road.
Yeah. So it'll be
like forever. It's like a DMA, you know, it's a doctorate. The number of hours that you have to do for this certification is intense.
Yeah. So, I'm excited though to continue to see you sprinkling and inviting that story in. And I'm actually, I didn't realize you were just at the beginning, but it makes me think like, oh my God, how smart were you to do H2RA now? Because now you have those glasses on through the entire training program of AT, and you can be saying, oh, what does my ideal client need to hear from me right now based on like this module that I just finished in AT or this part of my certification. And the other thing that I love is, even you were telling me earlier off camera that you're now even able to kind of pass on to other people and say like, hey, let me give you some ideas around your business. It's like a rising tide, you know, that's what we believe hardcore in the Speakeasy Cooperative. A rising tide raises all ships. And it is really cool to watch you do that as well. So I know I'm a little bit gushing over you, but I'm just so tickled. And I feel like we've seen that in like the whole cohort. It's pretty incredible to watch these amazing women. And I wish all of them would just come onto my show and tell their stories if they would be so bold, but I don't know. So what's next? What is next on so now that you're like graduating from, and we're working on something fancy for your websites to say you know, blood, sweat, and tears for 10 months. What's next for you? Like, what are you going to do now?
So I'm continuing to meet with my cohort. Let me just put that out there.
Ah,
We're
yay!
continuing to do our co-working sessions because we know the value in that, and yeah, and we've just gotten so much closer. It's really fun
Mm-hmm.
to be able to have people with a similar mindset,
Mm-hmm.
um, and going through those similar challenges that you can, connect with and really lean on. So, next things to continue doing my budget and
Yay!
looking at data
Glad to hear it,
and
Amy.
being data driven because it's one of the things that I really don't like, but I need to do. And I know, and I've seen the value
Mm.
like that data provides. Um, and I've seen myself have a significant shift in, oh, this is what my business needs to make in order to run, as opposed to, oh, this is just how much I need to like be able to buy groceries and pay my bills. Um,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
it's a little bit of a mindset shift. So continuing to dig into that, but also looking at creating my new website and really getting clearer in my AT work.
Oh, good.
I've actually just had this vision over the weekend of creating an Alexander technique studio, similar to a yoga studio, where if I can find other teachers and we can connect, it might be a voice and AT studio where we can have space for group classes, we can have rooms for individual work. People can come and really understand how they're using their whole self in any activity.
Oh, I love
Um,
that.
and to practice it, people, this is
Mm.
the same thing with voice or yoga.
Yeah.
Anything that you're doing needs continual practice because it's, especially like, this is long-term work. This is not just I take a magic pill and then I'm fixed. It's not, the mistake that people have in their mind around what AT is, they think it's just posture. They think it's like,
Mm.
oh, I need to just like get my posture fixed and that's Alexander technique, and that's not Alexander technique at all. I wouldn't even say that it's like, I guess it maybe is a part of it, but it's really not the work. And so it's a work that is constantly being implemented into all parts of your life, whether it's walking, whether it's chopping carrots, whether it's singing. It's how we use ourselves and the quality in which we use ourselves. And so creating a space for people to come and be able to increase the quality of their life by having a place to practice, whether that's singing as an activity or doing something else, that's where I'm headed. And I don't think I ever would have been able to have that vision if it hadn't been for the work that I've done in H2RA.
I love it.
Beautiful.
Wow. Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, I was going to say, I was going to wrap it up with like, okay, Amy, there's someone watching. They're looking at the sales page, which will, I guess I should
You should
drop
put
the
that
sales
up.
page in
Yeah.
the comments, right? Like a yo-yo. Hold on. Let me see if I can find the sales page. But hi, let me tell you all about this program I'm doing, but then not give you access to the program that I'm doing. Stupid.
That's just because we're having fun.
Some
We're having
business coach
fun.
I am. So,
That's okay. Can I just say one other thing?
yeah.
We kind of talked about this. Like, back when I first started, I was so like intimidated. Like,
Oh,
Michelle Marquardt
yes.
DeVoe is like this pioneer and running your business and like leading people to good things and like feeling so unworthy. And so the fact that I can be here now, like a year later, and just shooting the shit with you and talking to you and not feeling like I am less than is a huge shift for me, to
Yay.
stop going like I'm down here, and
Mm-mm.
yeah, and really valuing me.
I love
So
it.
yeah.
I love it. That I always get a little bit weirded out when people tell me that I'm intimidating because I find myself extremely awkward and
I've been told
even.
the same thing. I've been
Yeah,
told the same thing. I've been told that I'm intimidating, and then I'm like, but I'm so insecure. How can I be intimidating? Like,
it's so interesting. I mean,
yeah.
like to that end, it's very interesting how being a person who can think and make decisions and then stick to the decision that they've made with grace
Mhm.
and kind of that calm, like, this is what we're going to do, while also, it's very interesting to me how just being a person that can make a decision and not be sorry about it is
Mm.
translated into like intimidating.
Yeah,
And I think Amy is saying this, and
yeah.
Amy and I actually have an appointment because I'm really, we think we're going to have her be in the next cohort here. Smart,
Yay!
confident women intimidate others. And I don't disagree. I really
Yeah.
do feel like one of the things that we get to do in Speakeasy and How to Run is just like you said, when you watch people reflect back to you who you are, it's like,
Mhm.
it's not a place where it's not crabs in a bucket. And I think that
No.
the power of being in a place where you are celebrated because
Mhm.
of your power, because of we call it the beastie boss things you do, because
Mhm.
of your strength and your commitment, and you're strong even if your decisions are wrong. The fact that you're strong, there's no wrong decision, but you know what I mean. Like,
Yeah.
I think that goes a really long way. And I love how you're passing that on to your daughter. We get to
Mhm.
pass that on to our kiddos. And
Yep.
congratulations, by the way, to your lovely Munch, who just got called back
It's
when
so
she had
exciting.
COVID. I love
She
it.
Oh my gosh.
So
She was
she got a call
screaming when I
back,
told her
right?
the news.
For
Yes, yes. So she unfortunately got COVID last week, and the auditions were set for
Of
that
course.
for Wednesday.
Of course.
And we had snow days. It was just a horrible, crazy week. But she the I reached out to the director and just said, she's not going to be able to come. Is there any way that we can do a video submission, do something? Because that was what she was most upset about. And
Yeah.
she doesn't do this, Michelle. Like, she's not mama's little performer. She's not. And so that when she said she wanted to do this and she put in the work, I was so
Mm.
proud of her. And I've just been like standing back, trying not to be the crazy stage mom, just standing back, letting her do her thing, and offering little bits, but just loving her through the process and being so scared for her. Like, it's always hard to go to see your students in a competition. Like, you sit out there and you're like, oh my gosh, I have no control over what's going to happen. And it's like times a million for my daughter.
Yeah.
Anyway, so she submitted a video. I like taught her some sort of little silly dance thing that she could just show that she could move. And she got a call back. And oh,
Congratulations unto you
yeah.
and unto
Yeah.
she,
Yeah,
unto
so she's
her.
going there today, so we'll see what happens, and
I'm
either way,
so
I'm just proud of her.
I'm proud of her. I'm vicariously proud of her.
Yeah.
And I don't doubt that who you've become in the last year has contributed. I think she's watching you, right?
Yeah.
Just as we are careful that the things we say, children will listen.
Mhm.
That can be a good thing. So, Amy, I'm going to do this. I'm going to go off camera and I'm going to give you the stage. And I just want you pretend that you're talking to a group of people who need this.
Mm.
Need H2RA, and just have at them. Tell them, encourage them with what they need to hear. And you just say your perspective. So I'm going
Alright.
to let you have it.
Okay, so if you are like me at all, you think that you have your stuff together. Like you're doing the work, you've got your clients, you're making money, and you feel like you've made progress in how you're running your business and doing all the things. And yet you still feel like you're not totally trusting yourself. This program is for you because you get the tools to run your business like a business owner instead of running it through emotion and through that creative brain. Most of us go to college, we get a degree in vocal performance or something like that, and they focus on pedagogy and what you need to do as a performer. But we don't get the skills to actually be a business owner. And all I can say is that I have elevated every part of my business through this program, and I know it's going to continue. And I really do want to foster good business sense in my students as much as I want to foster them being able to take care of their vocal health. And I think that whether your student is going to go into teaching or performing or being an educator, we can teach them how to respect themselves, honor their needs, and respect the people around them. And so, yeah, I just think if you have any questions, you can contact me. I would be happy to share more. But this program is just life changing. It will change your mindset in who you are as an individual, as a singer, as a teacher, as a business owner. So come on in.
I didn't know you were going to say all those great things. That was great. That was awesome. Amy, thank you. Thank you for putting yourself out there for the last 10 months. Thank you for putting yourself out there today. And I know that I'm going to get to see where it's going. And I have nothing but I'm just so excited. I can't even, I'm so excited for you because I know that you are launched into the next season of yourself and your business. So thank you so much for joining us today. I'm going to put you off camera so I can wrap it all up, but stay on the line so I can say goodbye to you.
Thank you.
Everyone, thank you so much for joining us today. Again, that was the amazing Amy Mushall of the soon-to-be WholeHearted music studio. And she was sharing her journey, sharing a little bit about what it's like to go from, I think I got it together, to I'm absolutely sure that I have it together. And even more so, I have all the tools that I need to continue to get it together, even when I feel like I might not. I'm going to wrap it up here. I hope you have a fantastic rest of your week. And again, questions, comments, anything you want to know, come join us in the 2022-2023 cohort of How to Run Your Voice Biz Without Hating Your Boss. And I've dropped the link in the comments for you to learn more. Okay. Last thing I'll say, if you read the sales page and you're scared, if you read the sales page and you feel like there's no way that I could do this, you read the sales page and you look at the price, because I actually put the price of a high ticket program on my sales page because I believe in transparency, and you want to throw up in your mouth a little bit. Go ahead, fill out the application. Let's have the call, because I am committed to making this program. I'm committed to working it out for those who know that it's right for them and who I know it's right for, right? So there's a two-way street there. Go ahead and do it. And we will see you in the next month as we gather our cohort. And again, have a fantastic rest of your week. And Amy, wave goodbye.